There you go.
There we go.
Hello, LinkedIn. We're live on the Analytica company page. And I'm doing the intro today, so Tim asked me to do it. So hopefully I don't mess it up. I'd like to introduce you today to Charrele Brown. Charrele works for SAP, and I'm going to read it out because it's quite a long title, Charrele, all right?
So I don't want to mess it up. Go right ahead.
Head of Digital Selling, Executive Branding Program, so we are going to touch on that, and gamification for digital selling. And digital selling is quite a topical thing at the minute. So, but we first met, didn't we, Charrele, a few weeks ago on one of the SAP radio shows?
Yes,
and just the things that you were just coming out with were like just sound bites. You need to write a book, I think, of all the little sayings that you've got.
I'll take that advice. I will take that advice. Thank you for having me. So great to be here.
Oh, that's all right. I mean, maybe what we could do, just while folks are seeing this going live in the page, maybe you can just give us a bit of an overview of what you do for a role, where you're based, and a little bit about yourself.
So in addition to what you said about digital selling and executive branding, I am primarily focused right now on digital marketing as well. So digital marketing and trying to get those folks to get some sort of digital presence, right? Because we always associate social with selling. And of course, the program was named digital selling, but we have a caveat to that, and it's called digital presence, because you have to have some sort of presence online to make an impact. If people don't know where to find you, you really can't do business, because a lot of business is done online. Primarily, it's done online, especially in this climate. So in addition to those duties that you outlined, I'm also doing digital marketing as well. That's what I'm doing.
Where are you based, Charrele? Where are you?
I'm based out of Pennsylvania. So I'm at the SAP office, Newtown Square, Pennsylvania. I'm in a suburb outside of Philadelphia called Upper Dublin, or Glenside, however you want to talk to it. And yeah, I'm there, and I have 2 beautiful children, an amazing husband. I am a sports mom. My kids play sports. I'm recently really focusing on my health, that from a personal level. So I'm doing everything to keep myself as healthy as possible in this climate, right? Because, we could have sat around and eat and just gained weight, and I decided to go the other way. So I'm the resistor.
Charrele, just before you came on, Tim, Charrele was telling us that she does 2,000 skipping jumps every day.
Every morning.
Every day.
Well, I actually felt quite good coming into this call. Now I feel, really like I need to catch up and make sure I go out running.
Yeah. So. And I actually do those 2,000 jumps on social media live.
Do you?
Yes.
You've got to tell us a bit more about that. Why do you do that then? To hold yourself accountable?
Like I said, I started during the pandemic riding my bike because I just needed to get out. And riding your bike is, social distancing. So I could respect the social distancing aspect of it. And then I got into doing some cardio in the house. And then I decided, you know what? And I started this in January. And I don't know if you're familiar with this, but in Pennsylvania, we got some really inclement weather. We got some snow, got a lot of freezing rain and all of that. And I said, if I'm going to do this, I need to do this in the hardest conditions. And I need to do it every day because I need to show up for me. So that helped me gain a level of consistency that I never had before. So I decided to start jumping rope, and I started with 200. And one day I said, I'm going to kill myself, but I'm going to push through to this 1,000. And I had been doing 1,000 since the middle of January, and decided 2 weeks ago we would do 2,000. And we've been doing 2,000 for 2 weeks at 6:15 a.m. every day.
And the social media thing, though, what's the link into that then? Because you say you do it live on social?
I do it live. It's on my personal social media account.
Yeah. But that's really cool. So it's like a community.
Yeah, it's community. I have people join me because, on Instagram, people can join you on the live. So yeah, I do that. It's a lot of fun. I have a lot of people who support me. I'm not trying to do anything but be consistent and show up every day. And there are health benefits from that. So
I think just immediately I can see that your energy and passion and commitment to that consistency is amazing, because consistency is the thing that I find the hardest thing in social. So it looks like you're living and breathing that. And I just feel really like I need to do more fitness, having spoken to you. I've got 2 kids as well, and 6:15 I'm trying to sleep, but maybe I just need to wake up earlier, because 6:15 hopefully they're not awake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I do it. It's all intentional, Tim. I do it at 6:15 because that is a hard time to wake up and get going, right? This is intentional for me. I want to do the hard stuff. It's eating my frog. Have you guys ever read that book, Eat
Yes.
Frog by Brian Tracy? So that's my frog. Every day I eat a frog at 6:15.
That's amazing. Charrele, so what you are quite a determined person, and when you set a routine, you are obviously on it. Tell us about your journey in social as an employee of SAP. When did you suddenly discover social media communities? Let me take you back to that.
Okay. So I was always on social from a personal level, but from a professional level, I joined Kirsten Boileau's team. And she created this entire baby, and I absolutely am so passionate about digital selling. I love it. I don't focus as heavily on it as I used to. So that executive branding program, even though I started it and I created it, it's been passed along to someone else because that's not my focus area anymore. I still dabble in it. I still do it from a personal level. If there are people who reach out to me, I will help them with LinkedIn, because a lot of people are on other social platforms, but they are for some reason, intimidated by LinkedIn. And I just don't understand why. And I think it's because it's so conservative, but I'd like to talk to more people about why they are intimidated by LinkedIn. Like, it's not a big deal. People think that LinkedIn is only for recruitment or trying to find a job, but it has so many functions and so much functionality for other things, especially connecting with people. And people really need to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point. So do you feel like that's the major challenge, that people think it's for recruitment, or do you think that other social channels are a much faster pace, so you feel like you might share something and not many people are going to see it, but LinkedIn, the content sticks around more? It's more you're going to be judged professionally on what you say. Like, are they the main factors?
People, I think the main factors are both of those, Tim, right? I think it's because people think that they're being watched, especially if you think that LinkedIn is for looking for a job, and your boss may see it. And, they may say, hey, are you searching for a job? Are you trying to get out of here? I don't think people should be intimidated by that at all, because you always want to consistently improve, right? Lately, I have been having a lot of challenges with time management, and I am trying to use these things to get better. So don't look at it as a weakness or a fault. Use it. It's a social platform. It allows you to connect with groups. It allows you to connect with people who have gone to the same school that you've gone to. It allows you to connect with everybody. So the connections are a part of increasing your business. Whether you're in sales, marketing, HR, services, you want people to see your product or service. And the only way they'll see it on a professional platform in a conservative manner is by getting on LinkedIn or something similar.
Yeah. So for those that are just tuning in and just watching now, so we're coming at this from two different directions with Charrele from SAP, because Charrele in her own right has got a social media brand, but she also helps other employees and executives do it. It's interesting actually, because this morning I ran a bit of an objection handling workshop with a client, and quite often they were saying, well, I want to move away from social media because it's a bit too noisy. I can't find the content that I want, and this is a bit of a tricky thing for people. I think they get a bit scared, especially subject matter experts. They don't want to be picked apart for their knowledge. What else do you think is making executives resistant? So in your role of executive branding on social media and supporting executives, what are the other resistant factors, and what do you think's, where do you think that's coming from for them?
Yeah, that's why I mentioned time management, because they don't have time. They don't make time.
That's different.
It's not a priority. And so I say to that, and this is a controversial statement, but I say to that, if you want to do something, you'll do it, right? It's no excuse. If you don't do it, you probably didn't want to do it, or you're missing it, or you don't understand it. That's another. I'm not going to say, I won't be that controversial. You don't understand it. That's why there's an element of fear there, or you don't want to do it. You won't make time.
Yeah. Well, you're an absolute testament to that, getting up at 6:15 in the morning and doing 2,000 skipping rope jumps. So you make the time if you want to do it.
Yeah.
I see. Christoph Trapp
Oh yeah, hi,
joined
Christoph.
and posted a comment. Thanks for doing that. And Christoph said, "I totally expect people to judge my LinkedIn content, post with that in mind." And I think just a wonderful content channel, but it is business focused, and that's what's great about LinkedIn. But so I think we're all in agreement with that. I love what you say about people either don't want to, or they don't make time, or they don't understand, because I've thought that execs have really been successful at scaling their organization through their expertise, through what they're good at. And social is that leveler where a lot of people who are younger or beneath them are better at it than them. And it's a very humbling experience to kind of open yourself up and to post it, maybe in a wrong fashion or not as good as someone else can do it. So it is an exposing leveler that I think is hard for them to be able to sort of grasp and to embrace, if you like.
I say to that, Tim, I totally agree with what you said. I'll add to that as a caveat. If there's an element of fear in something, if you learn about it, you deconstruct it, you understand, and you realize it's not so scary. And fear is a driver. People connect through fear. There are a bunch of people who are sitting out there who have been trained, who have amazing experience, who have amazing content, and they will not get on social. And we're losing out because we want to hear from you, right? We want to hear all of that amazing stuff that you've learned and experienced. And it doesn't have to be in a particular format. If you share your story, no one can pick that apart. They really can't, because it's your story and it's your experience. And social has some protectors from that. If they are trying to pick apart what you're saying or deconstruct what you're saying in a negative manner, there's a button called the X or the block or unfriend or unfollow, and you can easily do that. But I think some of that gives you tougher skin, some of that information that you're getting back. And when you look at it, people who are saying hurtful things on social or being unfair or ignorant, they don't understand. They don't understand at all. So just, you can kind of ignore that because it really doesn't hold water, to say mean things and to do mean things. So we need to get out of the mind space of what other people are going to do and get into the mind space of what other people will learn from my testimony, from my story, from what I've experienced. And I just go out and share that.
I think that's a fascinating point, actually. I told you my voice was going, Tim. Yeah. I told you. I can't. I've been coughing all day, but nothing bad. Nothing
since
bad.
Charrele was talking about eating the frog early in the morning, it seems like you are developing one. So
yes, as we speak, you're going to have to take over, I think. I'm going to have to put myself on mute or something. I was going to ask, actually, Charrele, because the point's gone now. Oh, yeah, LinkedIn. It's not a scary space, actually. By and large, it's a really lovely platform. I mean, I know a lot of things happen on Twitter, but there are micro communities on Twitter, where really good stuff happens. And I think sometimes we do get fearful that we're going to get picked apart. But generally speaking, LinkedIn is a very supportive community. And it's people who want to learn, want to develop, want to share, want to connect. It's not a frightful place. And actually, the micro communities on Twitter are brilliant. I was going to ask, so the question is, where are you on social? Where do you operate? Where do you spend most of your time typically? Is it LinkedIn?
I actually spend a lot of time. Well, I spend time on LinkedIn because that's part of my job. So I spend a good portion of my time there. I spend a lot, and I'm starting to help more people with LinkedIn or to understand it. So that's a bulk of it. I spend a lot of time on Instagram. A lot of time on TikTok. You can get lost in the TikTok portal and just go down. So I've made videos with my puppy, with my kids. I've done all the trendy dances. I've done all that stuff because, it's fun for my children. I have an 18-year-old and a 10-year-old, right? And they're on TikTok. That's their platform. I don't do Snapchat at all. I don't like it. I don't know how to use it. I'll use the filters and do a video and post it on Instagram. So I use the functionality of Snapchat, but nothing else. I don't post on Snapchat. I use Facebook intermittently, and I used to be a heavy Facebook user. And when I go back and look at the development that I've had over some of these years on Facebook, some of the posts that I used to put, I'm like, wow, why did I ever put that? But I don't delete it because I like to see how I've evolved over the years.
Yeah. You're the first person that we've had on this series that is a TikTok user. Don't you think, Tim? I can't remember anybody else who was a TikTok user.
Yeah, I use TikTok. I do.
Yeah, I think I think there may be like one other, but hardly anyone else.
No.
Yeah.
TikTok is
broken
cool.
records
It's so much
there.
fun. It's a lot of fun.
And I love what you talk about, Charrele, leaving your posts up, which you might not be proud of, to see the journey that you've had. It's almost like Ed Sheeran sharing his initial music videos, which he said were absolutely horrible. You know, he said when he recorded some initial ones, he sounded awful. Like no one would give him a gig, and you know he actually promotes those and shares them, almost like look how far I've come.
Mhm.
And you know it's good because it is all out there, but you know it's like a CV. So you wouldn't say, okay, when we were 18, we had to have like really sophisticated content, you know, within the tech space. You would probably say something pretty dumb about the tech industry as an 18-year-old, but actually, you know, it doesn't matter because it was at that time. So I think that's pretty cool to not like be afraid of what's happened in the past because of the maturity of your journey.
And it helps other people as well, Tim. So if someone sees me now and they see me at a level of development or evolution and they say, wow, she's posting great content, I like her, I want to engage with her, and they look at my old stuff, that may be an incentive for them. Say, you know what? She did do bad in the beginning because it was horrible. It was horrible.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I've gotten better. And maybe 2 years from now, I'm going to think that the content that I'm putting out now is horrible. But I want people to see that. And that can help, again, that can help somebody. It's part of my journey and part of my story. So
yeah, and that I think appeals to the people that you're also trying to inspire to get on their social journey as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Wonderful, Charrele. I love it. Look, I'd love to understand because you talked about the different platforms that you're on. Do you have some kind of routine then? Because you are a busy lady by the sounds of it. 6:30 in the morning, and how do you fit social into your day? Because there might be some folks on here that we always ask this, don't we, of the people that we talk to. But how do you fit it? I mean, you know, is there a routine? Do you have a?
Yeah, it's pretty much a routine because again, time management is one of my challenges. So, and tactics are one of my challenges. So I try to be as tactical as possible. I'm more of a strategy person. I like to see the big picture and then let's find some way to get it done magically. Snap your fingers, but it doesn't happen that way. So yes, back to my schedule. I do have a schedule in the morning so that I can handle my personal business and then it's to work. It's work business. So that 6:15 jump, that's for me. I go get a juice and I talk to friends on live just about different various topics. That's for me. And then after that, it's work time. So then I'm transitioning kind of over to LinkedIn more instead of doing.
Yeah.
So I do have some sort of routine. And then at night, I have a book read that I do that I join. I either host or co-host or read along for a woman, Stormy Wellington. She has a book called The Quiet Storm. It's, you know, about her journey. It's a really, really transparent story. So we're doing that. We just read TD Jake's book, Drop the Mic. So I do the book club thing and that's live as well. So we want people to see us on social media, or I like people to see me on social media doing different things outside of, you know, the professional level so that they can see there is a balance and it is possible.
Yeah, there's a thing there. Sorry, I've got another question, Tim. Did you want to ask something?
No, go for it. Go for it.
Because you talked about personal and professional divide. This is one that comes up quite a lot. It's like, how authentic, I've just got that in there, Tim, how authentic can I be on social? Should I keep social for business or should I be a little bit more human on social as well? Where's the divide? Because you say, you know, when it's in work time, I'm straight on LinkedIn. When I out of work, I'm back on Instagram. So do you compartmentalize your channels, your life, your like that? Or do you mix it up a little bit? Do you talk about topics that interest you or how does that work?
Well, I'll talk about professional topics on my personal Instagram, but I won't talk about personal topics on my professional LinkedIn, right? I keep it professional on LinkedIn. With the other, and I do separate them. Like I don't follow work people on Instagram. I don't follow work people on Facebook because those are my professional. I may go out and have a drink and somebody may be against that, or, I won't get drunk, but it's those things that you have to keep separate. I make dog posts. Nobody from work wants to see that, I don't think. Those are the things that, I feel like should be separated, and it allows you to be who you are on those different platforms, because I am a combination of different qualities and different experiences. So if I keep them separate, keep the LinkedIn stuff, the personal stuff, the jump stuff, the fitness stuff, all of that on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. And then I go to LinkedIn and I can be my professional self with a little, there's a little controversy that can be in Instagram. I'm a Black female. There was a post that someone put up, an amazing post, and it talked about how she was ostracized for her hair. Our hair is a different texture. And a lot of Black women have experienced hair drama at work, right? Because our hair can be big, it could be small like ours, it could be long, it could be short. And there is a level of ignorance about Black women's hair. And so she talked about that, and I chimed in. And I was very apprehensive about reposting her content, but I thought it was needed. It was well written. It was so professional. So I decided to go ahead, because diversity and inclusion is a part of the professional workplace. But if that was something that I posted on Instagram, I wouldn't have hesitated at all. I would have said, this is a great article. This is how I feel. And I would have shared more of my experience. But I decided to read her entire article and post it or repost it. And I got a lot of.
You did. I saw it. It was amazing. It was an amazing post.
But yes. I think this is where we've discussed this with other interviews as well. It's almost that I think the filter is what you would say in a business dinner. If you were in person with people, would you share that story? And you would say, like, I've seen this amazing article. I think that she's got a very good point. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it's interesting that you hesitated, because it's that filter which, like, is this relevant to a business audience? And actually, I see more and more exec leaders posting about their families on LinkedIn and getting some really big engagement. And I'm just wondering, because I agree with you, like, I like to keep my personal life separate on Facebook or, Instagram a bit, but it's much more on sort of LinkedIn, Twitter, business conversations. So are they getting good engagement because their fellow employees and their colleagues are just thinking that it's great that they're proud that their daughter or son has, got some degree at college or university? That's a good thing. A lot of people like that, but is that really driving business impact, or are they just connecting with their fellow employees and showing up as a person? I mean, do you have a viewpoint on guidelines for that? And
I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking that when you were talking in the beginning. Both of them. It's, I am a human and I am a professional. And it's also, this is very valid to who I am as a professional. I am proud that my daughter just graduated from high school or college. So I may be a happier employee because I have that weight off of me. It's just a combination of things. So I do believe that, yes, everyone should humanize themselves on even professional platforms. The level of humanization, though, is what you have to be careful with. And I don't want to go in and cause fear for people who are already apprehensive about it, but you have to. That's why I love the way Kirsten set this program up, the digital selling program, because it's 3 buckets. They did a lot of research for this. It's 3 buckets. It's branding. How do you brand yourself as a professional and on a personal level? But we'll talk professional now. What does your profile picture look like? What information are you sharing? What experiences do you have? How much activity do you have? What groups are you connected with? That's professional. You can humanize that part of you, especially for executives, because it helps the right people reach out and connect with you. There are so many tips and tricks that you can do. So branding is the first one. Secondly, you should be listening to what the people that you want to connect with, what are they saying? What are their challenges? What are their hopes and dreams? What are they saying about their kids graduating or their kids' accomplishments or their son finally scored a goal in football or soccer, right? So those are the things that will help people connect with you. What school did you go to? You graduated from the University of Pennsylvania? Oh, so did I. That's great. That's awesome. Let's have breakfast when COVID is over, or let's connect on a business level. So those things are very important to include in your professional profile. because people want to see, okay, are you this executive, but you have things that I can talk about. These are conversation starters. So you have to listen. Listening is such an important element of digital selling, of social media influencing. It's as equally important as branding and then as sharing, right? Because you can brand yourself, you can listen to conversations. And once you do those two things, and it has to be in that order, branding first and then listening. And because when you listen, if you brand yourself first and you listen, you will understand how to change and evolve your brand. So I think it's cyclical, it's iterative. You go from branding, you got a brand, then you get out there and listen. And the people that you want to connect with are talking about something different. Maybe I'll change my profile summary a little bit so that I can resonate more with those people. And then you have to share. You can't brand and then listen and get all this great information and then hold it in. We want to hear from you now. Like, you've done what you need to do, but it has to be in that order, and it has to be those three things, and they are all equally important. Some people may say, "Oh, I branded myself, and now I'm listening to conversations, and I got some great information." Okay, bye social media. No, no, no. Now you have to share, whether it's basic, intermediate, or advanced. Basic is just sharing or liking a post and maybe commenting, and then you listen. So you may repost somebody else's content, and you share, and then you comment. And then advance is creating original content. You may read an article and you have an addendum to that. This article talked about that, and I want to talk more about this. So those things are very important. That's why I'm so happy to have been a part of the digital selling program at SAP. I still support it, but it is not my primary function.
We've just had a masterclass in exactly how to. That's brilliant, Charrele. Yes. And we've got some folks commenting as well. I don't know if you can see it, Charrele, on the side.
Yeah, I can. I do.
So TikTok's evolved. I love this one from Ludmilla. Quality social has replaced the morning paper and coffee. Hasn't it just? Hasn't it just? There's something you mentioned, actually, Charrele, I wanted to dig into, which is your topics. Because I thought that post you shared on LinkedIn was brilliant, and it educated me in a topic that I wasn't aware of, right? So in that way, I learn. What are your go-to topics? Do you have topics that you own on social that you kind of think, this is what I want conversations around?
I would think my top one is diversity and inclusion. And it's because of who I am, right? I'm a Black female in America. We all know what comes with that. And if we don't, there's a lot of content out there that will help you understand what that is. But diversity and inclusion, I think, is the top thing. And I'm raising 2 Black females. I have 2 daughters, right? And it's tough. So to get people to understand who you are and how you work, for instance, the article that we talked about, right? Sarah talked about Black hair in the workplace. That one is going to educate people. However, it's saying to everybody out there, and you don't want people to sympathize with you, but you want them to empathize with you, right? So I may be having an exceptionally hard day because I have a certain hairstyle and I'm getting a hard time for it. And you're looking for me to do something for work. And I'm struggling with who I am naturally. It's hard. So that article hit the nail right on the head. And that's what pushed me over the edge. Like, people need to understand about these things. This is how we all work with each other. I may have someone who is from another country and there may be war in their country. I need to understand that's probably why they're having a bad day. So if you understand the personal aspects, that's why social listening is so important, right? If you're listening from a social platform, you kind of know what's going on in the world. You kind of know what's going on with a certain group of people, a specific group of people. And then that helps you understand why they may have challenges, why they may not have responded to something or done something or done it the way you would have liked to seen it done. It's a whole bunch of things. So I would say my top topic is diversity and inclusion. We have so many ages in the workplace, so many different types of people. We have people who have gender identities that may be different from traditional gender identities, and you have to respect all of that in the workplace. So it's a lot. So I do understand why people are intimidated by social, because some people just don't know what to say and they don't want to say the wrong things. But education is part of that. Again, that's why social listening is so important. Know what people are talking about and the struggles that they're having and the challenges that they're having, and you can help. You may just say, "Thank you for sharing that article. I never understood this before. It gives me some insight."
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good a really good piece of advice for our listeners, because, and Danielle Guzman talks a lot about this, that just actually acknowledging the article and saying I learned something or picking out something makes the person who's posting it feel like they've been read and acknowledged, and that contributes. You don't have to necessarily comment on exactly what you thought of it or disagree or add a comment. You can actually just acknowledge. And I think that's really great advice.
Mm-hmm. And Tim, that is right. Acknowledgement. You don't. And honestly, the things that I disagree with, I don't patronize. I don't visit those sites. I don't visit those people's accounts. I just leave them to their own devices, because just like I have the right to share my opinion, other people do too. And they may have a different viewpoint or different paradigms than me, and that's all okay. See, when we understand that you have a right to do what you're doing, as long as you're not hurting anyone, I do too, and so does Sarah, and so does everyone else. And when you go in with that mindset, even if you don't acknowledge it because you may not agree with it or you may not understand it, or you may agree with the other side of that, like the hair challenge thing, for instance. People may say, well, I have friends that are Black females and they don't have hair challenges. That's all fine. Doesn't mean that I'm not having those challenges or that the author of the article wasn't having those challenges. It just means that your friends are not. So it shows you two sides of a coin. Some people are having those challenges, some people are not. And it's okay to voice your opinion or to acknowledge, but just make sure you're not being mean, unkind, and ignorant. Because ignorance, a lot of times, even in fear, it's fearful because you're ignorant. You don't know what's going on. Doesn't mean you're ignorant in a bad way. It just means you don't have the knowledge about this thing, and it may be causing fear for you.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't agree more. I've got a slightly different question, because I'm really keen on understanding your opinion on this. A lot of social selling programs are accused of execs or employees talking to other people within their own organization, that they're not driving impact, with their target customers. You've also talked about the 3 stages of branding, listening, and then sharing on social. How do you encourage salespeople or exec leaders, subject matter experts, to listen on LinkedIn when it's a more challenging platform to find your target audience, listen to what they're talking about, and then post? Because the algorithms will mainly push content towards you who are already interacting with your content, which tends to be your fellow employees. So how do you help the employees drive external impact through listening on LinkedIn?
Like I said, we talked about that executive branding program, and we go over the branding, the listening, and the sharing. And a lot of that listening piece of it is discovery. Go out and do searches. This is how you listen. LinkedIn has the best, the most amazing search capabilities out there. I'm sorry. That's the truth. They have a very, very robust search engine. And the advanced search is like a page long under the fold. So you can discover who other people are. You can discover different countries, different regions. And so we talk about how to do that step by step, all in that listening phase.
So I think a lot of people don't understand that.
A lot of people don't understand that, and that's why we're here, right? That's why you're here and Sarah's here, and we have amazing guests like me, so we can.
Yeah, I think we do. I think we take it for granted a little bit, that people don't realize the amazing capability of a platform like LinkedIn, and what you can learn about people and how that can open conversations. That's the thing that I got from it, Charrele. One thing I was quite curious to learn about is how you find content. Because in that, you talk about listening and learning from others, but what do you read and how do you find articles? Because there'll be folks on here that'll be thinking, what's your trick for learning? How do you find stuff to learn from?
So there are some things that are externally driven, like Kirsten may ask, you know what, we want you guys to do, she may ask her team, we want you to do some research on a particular topic and then come back and feed it to the rest of the team. So those are externally driven things. So I'll learn that way. I'll say, you know what, we've been talking lately in our team meetings about X topic. Let's go and explore that more. And there are some things that are internally driven. You know, my kid can have a headache and I go online and Google adolescent head. It's a lot of factors that drive content. I'm pretty open to what I read about. I've been reading about meditation a lot, just based on my lifestyle. I've been reading about exercise, over 40. I've been reading about Cavapoo puppies because I have one. I've been reading about how to get people to connect with LinkedIn more, like what drives people, what are those fears are, what are their apprehensions. I'm going to be doing some, more research on different topics that interest me throughout the day. I may have a topic that I'm interested in, how to publish an audiobook. Tim just talked about ebooks. Those things, in conversations, I get, okay, you know what? Let me write that on my whiteboard. I'm going to research that and find out more about it.
Are you able to show us your whiteboard?
No, not today.
Who else was it that we did that with? Who was it? We did that with someone. Oh.
I have a note to my kids. They messed up my office while I was away. I was in Vegas this past week. And it's a pretty nasty note, so I could erase it.
We shouldn't see that. We did try to get someone else to do that, didn't we? Because she said, I've got these things that I do every day and I move them across. And
it's great. I think everyone we should get on here should just move the camera to behind their desk. And we just see what people got, because they've got personal notes, motivational messages. Different stuff is quite
yeah,
insightful.
I mean, mine looks quite orchestrated, right? But until you look down there, that's not good. That's where everything just gets like out the way. Yeah.
I think your background is another thing, right? Because we're talking about social. So you can see that for me, I'm into meditation. That's what I'm doing right now. I have an amazing photo that my daughter painted of herself in school, and it says so much because look, she has a mask on. Like, we don't draw pictures like that, but now all of a sudden children are, this is one of her self-portraits she did for art class, and it has outer space on it, and Saturn is her favorite planet, and she put that up there. She has her little scrunchies on her arm. This picture means so much to me, I think, because it's amazing. She's 10 years old and she did that, but it says so much to me, and her eyes have a kind of glazed over look because she's doing virtual school, and you're like tired of this. So you can kind of look at someone's background too and tell what they're interested in. Is what you see behind them.
Well, we've had some amazing guests, actually, haven't we? That have got some incredible backgrounds. Timo Elliott from SAP, we had him on. He was changing his clothes whilst he was talking to us. Not literally, I might add. It was digitally. So he wasn't.
It was amazing.
So, it was pretty cool.
He definitely had the green screen.
He did. Yes, it was impressive. So
I've got a question, Charrele, about the gamification part of your role.
Yeah.
Can you speak a bit more about gamification on social and how that can be leveraged or utilized in a workplace?
So gamification in the workplace on social is things like, we run global contests, or we used to run global contests where we would tell people, okay, here's your starting SSI, and you're at a 25, and the SSI goes up to 100. And maybe, you can do things to get better. And we take them through the entire gamut of what digital selling is or what digital presence is. And we show them how to do everything step by step. We give them demos on how to use LinkedIn, how to do these searches, and how to address all three buckets of digital selling: branding, listening, and sharing, right? Once they do that, they're ready to go. And based on what they do, how they share, what their brand looks like, who they connect with, their social selling index will increase according to what their activity. And so we put a contest together. You have a starting SSI of this. The top 3 people who have the top increase in percentage of their SSI score, these acronyms, their SSI score will win you know, an Apple Watch or a gift card or an SAP Appreciate Award. So those are the types of gamification elements we do professionally, but you can also do that personally. If you have a product or service, you can give somebody a sample kit of a product if you have it. You can give them, I'll give you 1 hour of my services. So those are all things that you can gamify. And you can do that based on whatever behavior that you're trying to change. That's what gamification is. It encourages a behavior change with some sort of tangible or intangible incentive behind it. And so I love gamification for that reason. People will, if there's a contest or a challenge and they can do something, they'll do it. They will engage. That's why that call to action, CTAs are really important. And gamification and CTAs go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Call to actions. Call to actions.
Yeah, love it. And hello, Sally. I seen you've left a comment there. She said, Sally said, totally agree. Can personalize things, can open up new conversations, and a beautiful picture. She said.
Thank you so much.
There you go.
I completely agree with your contest. I was fascinated when I was in the US. We were exhibiting at a conference, and and they said to us, "Would you like to give some free giveaway to some of the people at the conferences?" And we said, well, you can have a free spin of our wheel if you wanted, because we had this like gimmicky wheel, which had like 10 different options. Mm-hmm. Everyone came to the stand to say, I'd like a free spin of the wheel. Mm-hmm. And they just did it because they could. And it was a contest. And I didn't think anyone would turn up, but people love contests. People love competitions, especially when there's visibility or they can get something for free. And I don't think it's used enough.
Yeah, contest and gamification, there's a psychological element to that. As far as accomplishments, maybe someone hasn't had an accomplishment in a while and they're kind of feeling down on themselves. And spinning a wheel is easy, right? You spin the wheel and you get whatever comes from that. And that is a sense of accomplishment for some people. It's all psychological, and people don't understand that type of element is psychological as well. It's free marketing. Social media is free marketing. You can put your product, your service, you can advertise for friends and family who have businesses. It is the best thing ever. Like it's totally something that'll help you win if you use it properly.
Yeah, I love it. It just reminded me, I don't know why it came to my head. The last time I won a competition, I was 12 years old and I won a shell suit in a designer Valentine's Day card. How ridiculous is that?
So
and I've just
Sarah needs
I've
more appreciation.
I've missed it, Tim. I do. I wouldn't mind a competition, actually. I did look at the lottery.
So I'm excited to see what kind of competition Tribal Impact is going to come up with.
I'm thinking, I've written it down.
Unfortunately, Sarah can't win her own award. Otherwise, that would be bad leadership. So
yes.
Thanks.
Yes. Yeah. I need to enter your own competition. Analytica needs to do something. Mm-hmm. I can't believe how we're running out of time here, Charrele. I did have one.
Incentives are not just tangible. Like you can give badges and certificate. You don't have to give out a product or a service. You can do a badge. Like you come up with, cert 3 levels, I guess, of what you want people to progress through a program. This is how you engage people. You lock them in. You say, you know what? You can be bronze, you can be silver, and you can be platinum or gold, right? And then if you do this, you're bronze. But it'll take 2 more steps for you to become silver, or 3 more steps for you to become gold and platinum. So you can lock people into a system in a very, very positive way and give them a sense of accomplishment. It's all psychological. But go ahead, I interrupted your question.
No, you've just triggered something. We've got the Olympics starting in a couple of weeks' time, haven't we? So anybody who's thinking about gamifying a program of some kind, you could tie it into, the gold, silver, bronze. So I had one, switching gears a little bit. I did have one more question, Charrele, which is about analytics and tracking and measuring. It's a question that comes up every time when it comes to social media. Do you want to share your thoughts on this topic?
So that's the conversation that you and I had with Bonnie, right? So and Steve, right? So analytics are very important. Analytics will help you understand where you were and where you want to go and how good you're doing at it. Analytics measure performance, period. It's not difficult. There's so many analytics. Google has a bunch of analytics for free. You don't have to pay for some of them. If you want more robust, detailed numbers, of course, there are probably fees involved, but you can get analytics from Google. LinkedIn, let's go back to LinkedIn, gives you amazing analytics. Looking at your likes and shares, those are analytics. Looking at your insights, those are analytics. So even if you're doing those small things, you are using analytics. Okay, I posted, let's just say, I'll give you an example of something personal. I take this sea moss, okay, and it is a different type of sea moss, and I eat a lot of fruit from Chick-fil-A. So I got a fruit cup from Chick-fil-A. I added almonds and coconut, and I drizzled the sea moss on. For some reason, and I put it on a reel on Instagram, and for some reason I got 2,000 insights. Like it was crazy numbers that I've never gotten before. And when I saw it, I'm like, wow, so people really just like these reels. Reels are popular. So I learned that. So every time I do a video, I put it in reel, and I get a lot of activity around that. So reels are my go-to. And I realized that because I did it, and I get more numbers from the reels than I do from just the static posts. And of course, video and any imagery, anything multimedia, rich media converts better. So reels are the thing. So I just learned that from analytics. I say all that to say analytics are so, so very important. You cannot get by with analytics, even if you're not getting into the weeds of the difficult analytics. And people, again, are fearful of those numbers. They get upset and they get crazy with the numbers. It's not difficult. Looking at your likes, your comments, and your shares are analytics. So yes, use them for your social media platforms, no matter what they are, because you will see what works better for your social media, and then you can do more of that.
Amazing.
I think we've got to wrap it up, right, Tim? Because you got to shoot off, I think, haven't you? You've got something coming up.
Well, I think we've all the life of back-to-back, hourly meetings. But I think it's been such a great pleasure speaking to you, Charrele. I definitely going to get up earlier, having spoken to you, and I think you're very amazing at how intentional you are, and very energetic and passionate. And I love what you say about all of the topics you post about, and your routine and strategy on social. So I can imagine how much of a powerhouse you are internally at SAP to drive all these programs. So thank you so much for coming on our
I appreciate it, Tim, and I don't see you smile too much, and you smile quite a few times, so I think I did a good job.
I do when I'm on social. I do have to remind myself, like if I concentrate, I stop smiling sometimes.
I know. We all do, though, don't we? I think if you just have a chat with someone, you can just be a bit more natural with it, can't you? No, Charrele, you're brilliant. I loved talking to you the first time, and I've enjoyed it even more on this time. Thank you so much. And if anyone's watching that wants to see other pre-recorded ones, if you go to the Analytica or the Tribal Impact Resources page, you will find all the pre-recorded LinkedIn lives there. And it just leaves me to say, Charrele, thank you so much. Honestly, you've shared so much good stuff today. You've given us a masterclass in digital selling and the 3 key ways to doing it. You've talked a lot about gamification and incentives, your approach to content and the decision making that you have. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Sarah, it's always a pleasure. It is always a pleasure to be with a fellow SAP alumni, right?
Yeah.
But it is helping me learn. It's getting me out here, right? This isn't always comfortable. I like talking. I like training, but you never know what this platform is. You gave me a lot to do research on before I got here. For that, I appreciate it. But you don't know how it's going to turn out. So you have to put yourself out there. And if you drop the mic, just pick it up and go again.
Great advice, Charrele. Brilliant.
Thank you again, Charrele.
Thank you, everyone, for watching and your wonderful comments. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care now.